Good morning, this is Mark. In this video I'm going to show you a powerful new feature that's both in Seedsource and in Collector that gives organizations a completely different way of establishing new population codes for their species. For many years, for 10 years, the population code has been exclusively used as a unique identifier that attaches a species to a location, and that works fine for most organizations in most contexts. However, as organizations grow and they perform more field documentation, there's a situation that arises where there are multiple locations that are very nearby each other. So say a state park and a county park and some private property and some state property, all sort of in the same place, in the same ecological conditions, in the same ecoregion, in the same county, or in some cases the same administrative region. When population codes can only be created for a specific species location set, then the number of population codes can proliferate when describing more or less the same species population in a general area. So what we've done is we have allowed each organization to choose how it wants to establish population codes. The default for everyone is by location, as it has been for a long time, but there are now 3 additional options. You can now establish population codes based on the ecoregion, so now species ecoregion pairings. You can also establish population codes that represent species county relationships, and then the third type, which we don't anticipate being used very often, and that is the species administrative region or administrative unit relationship. So those are the 4 types: location, ecoregion, county, and administrative region. So let me show you where you can make this adjustment. Before I do that, I do want to note that although this population code creation or relationship type can be changed at any time, we recommend that an organization choose just one method and all users use the same method and keep that method stable going forward. Although there are few downsides to making changes kind of on the fly, but it could get confusing if there's not a standard. So let me show you where you can choose one of these 4 types. It's in the side menu. Currently I'm in Collector, but it's very similar in Seedsource. I go into the sidebar and scroll down to user configuration right here. And if you haven't been to your user configuration screen, it's kind of a cool place. You can see, all of your data sort of all in one place. But the new field is located here, called the population code creation type. The default for everyone is location, but you can change it to the other 3 that I mentioned: ecoregion, county, and region. So let's take a look at how those switches affect what the user sees and how you might interact with the software. So let's go and take a look at a species at a location that does not currently have a population code. So Butter Creek Road, it's just a little stream, kind of cute, has a lot of great plants growing there. And let's take a look at Caria ovata, or shagbark hickory. So you can see right away that there are no population codes established for this. The text is black, and when you click in on it, the create a population code button is green. Most of you know this, so that means that no population codes have been established for this pairing of shagbark hickory at Butter Creek Road. That's normal. That's what we have all been seeing for years. But let's take a look at what happens when I change the population code creation type to something else. Back to user configuration here, and let's take a look at what happens when I change that type to Ecoregion instead. Again, what the choosing Ecoregion means is that I now want to establish or use population codes based on the relationship between a species and an ecoregion, and not the species and a particular location. Let's go back and look at Butter Creek Road again. So now when I scroll down to the Caria ovata, I can see that a few things have changed. Now all of a sudden the species name is green, which signifies that there is a population code associated with that. And I click in and I can see now multiple population codes that have already been created that also represent the pairing between the species and ecoregion, which is what we just selected. Not the species and the location, but the species and ecoregion. And we can see that here. So Caria ovata at Upper Rocky Dale Road, that's in 64B, which is the same as Butter Creek Road. You can see Caria ovata at White's Mill Road, also in 64B. Shagbark Hickory at Unami, also in 64B. So what the software is doing is presenting to you, the user, all of the population codes that represent the pairing of the species to the ecoregion. Where this could be helpful is if, say, Upper Rocky Dale Road is either the same location or an extremely nearby location, just upstream, downstream, off to the side, as Butter Creek Road, then you could decide to just use that population code with which to make a new accession. Does that make sense? I hope so. So now let's take a look at what happens when I select the county as the relationship that I want to use for creating population codes. So I'm going to switch off of ecoregion now to county. Now you do need to allow this selection to sync so that you can see the effects over in your species panel. I'm going to move back over to Butter Creek Road, and you can see that yes, there are population codes related to this species. And if we go take a look at them, you can now see that here are two population codes for Caria ovata, Shagbark Hickory, that are now related to the county in which they occur. So the ecoregions you can see here are different. So both of these locations, the Kugelmass, Gallows Hill, and the Unami locations, have been tagged as being in Bucks County in Pennsylvania. They're completely different ecoregions, but the software now allows me to choose which of these pre-existing population codes I want to use for identifying a new accession or seed collection. The same thing would happen if you are using administrative regions and you select region here instead of location, ecoregion, or county. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Archewild and we'll try to help you more thoroughly understand the magnitude of this update. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.